A list of 1,000 U.S. Park Museum websites by state at Museumsusa. Chapter 1. Park Museums 1. Alabama Park Museum websites. Bellingrath Gardens and Home. Bellingrath.org. Theodore, Alabama. Blakely Historic Park. blakelypark.org. Spanish Fort, Alabama. Bon Secours National Wildlife Refuge. bonsecours.fws.gov. Gulf Shores, Alabama. Briarfield Ironworks Historical State Park. briarfieldironworks.com. Briarfield, Alabama. Burritt Park and Museum. Huntsville, Alabama. Cathedral Caverns St. P.K. Woodville, Alabama. Choctaw National Wildlife Refuge. stateparks.com/choctaw.html. Jackson, Alabama. Confederate Memorial Park. preservala.org/confederatepark.aspx. Marbury, Alabama. Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge. fws.gov/Eufaula. Eufaula, Alabama. Fendall Hall. fendallhall.com. Fort Gaines Historic Site. DauPhinIsland.org. Dauphin Island, Alabama. Fort Morgan State Historic Site. azaleacity.com/fortmorgan/information.htm. Fort Toulouse/Fort Jackson. fttoulousejackson.org. Wetumpka, Alabama. Horsepens 40. horsepens40.tripod.com. Steele, Alabama. Horseshoe Bend National Military Park. Daviston, Alabama. InfoCenter Alabama, Inc. InfoCenterAlabama.com. Helena, Alabama. Jesse Owens Museum. JesseOwensMemorialPark.com. Danville, Alabama. Joe Calton Bates Children Education and History Museum. Selma, Alabama. Landmark Park/Alabama Agricultural Museum. landmarkpark.com/aboutus.html. Dothan, Alabama. Little River Canyon Nat. Scenic Area. nps.gov/leary/home/home.htm. Fort Payne, Alabama. Looney's Tavern Amphitheater. bham.net/loonies. Double Springs, Alabama. Monroe County Heritage Museum. tokillamockingbird.com. Monroeville, Alabama. Moundville Archaeological Park. moundville.ua.edu. Moundville, Alabama. Old Monroe County Courthouse Museum. Restored to its 1930s appearance, our courtroom is the model for Harper Lee's fictional courtroom settings in To Kill a Mockingbird. It's now one of the most recognized courtrooms in America because of the popular film version of the book. Although the movie was not filmed here, the set designer came to Monroeville to measure, photograph and draw the courtroom before recreating it on a Hollywood sound stage. Palisades Park. BlountCountyPark.com/site. Ontontat, Alabama. Roland Cooper Saint Park. alapaarcade.com/Roland Cooper. Camden, Alabama. Rosa Parks Museum. Montgomery.troy.edu/museum. Montgomery, Alabama. Sauta Cave National Wildlife Refuge. fws.gov/Sauta Cave. Decatur, Alabama. USS Alabama Battleship Park. USSAlabama.com. Mobile, Alabama. W.A. Gale Planetarium. Troy.edu/planetarium. Alaska Park Museum websites. Atna Heritage Foundation Museum. ahtna-inc.com/heritage_foundation.html. Glen Allen, Alaska. Alpine Historical Park. alpinehistoricalpark.org. Sutton, Alaska. Big Delta State Historical Park. dnr.alaska.gov/parks/units/delta/jct/big delta.htm. Delta Junction, Alaska. Denali National Park. nps.gov/dena. Denali Park, Alaska. Eklutna Historical Park and Heritage Center. alaska1.com/eklutna. Eagle River, Alaska. Quebec Interpretive Site, Kanatsi Indian Tribe. Kanatsi.org. Cooper Landing, Alaska. Klondike Gold Rush International Historical Park. nps.gov/klgo. Skagway, Alaska. Last Chance Mining Museum. gastineauchannel.blogspot.com/2008/09/last-chance-mining-museum.html. Juneau, Alaska. Metlakatla Indian Community. metlakatla.com. Metlakatla, Alaska. Pioneer Memorial Parking. akpub.com/aktttt/pione.html. Fairbanks, Alaska. Sitka National Historical Park. nps.gov/sitka. Sitka, Alaska. Arizona Park Museum websites. Adobe Mountain Railroad Museum and Desert Park. Peoria, Arizona. Boyce Thompson Arboretum. arboretum.ag.arizona.edu/about_us.html. Superior, Arizona. Deer Valley Rock Art Center. dvrac.asu.edu. Phoenix, Arizona. International Wildlife Museum. thewildlifemuseum.org. Tucson, Arizona. Jerome State Historic Park. Jerome, Arizona. href=museum/info/295. National Park Service. Flagstaff, Arizona. Phoenix Zoo. phoenixzoo.org. Reed Park Zoo. Riordan Mansion State Historic Park. azstateparks.com/parks/remus/index.html. San Rafael Ranch State Park. azstateparks.com/parks/sarah/index.html. Patagonia, Arizona. Tejano Chol Park. tejanocholpark.org/wordpress. Tombstone Courthouse State Park. Tombstone, Arizona. Verde Valley Archaeology Center and Museum. verdevalleyarchaeology.org. Camp Verde, Arizona. World's Smallest Museum. worldsmallestmuseum.com. Arkansas Park Museum websites. Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. christallbridges.org. Bentonville, Arkansas. HRMS, Arkansas State Parks. Little Rock, Arkansas. Old Washington Historic State Park. Washington, Arkansas. Plantation Agriculture Museum State Park. arkansasstateparks.com/plantation agriculture museum. Scott, Arkansas. Prairie Grove Battlefield State Park. arkansasstateparks.com/Prairie Grove Battlefield. Prairie Grove, Arkansas. The Peel Compton Foundation. peelcompton.org/peel/index.htm. California Park Museum websites. Alice Keck Park Memorial Garden. Santa Barbara, California. Antelope Valley California Poppy Reserve. parks.ca.gov. Lancaster, California. Onsa Borrego Desert State Park. Borrego Springs, California. Applegate Park Zoo C/O City of Merced. Merced, California. Ardenwood Historic Farm. ebparks.org/parks/Ardenwood. Fremont, California. Armstrong Redwoods State Reserve Visitors Center. parks.sonoma.net/armstrng.html. Guerneville, California. Audubon Canyon Ranch. egret.org. Stinson Beach, California. Bale Grist Mill State Historic Park, closed. parks.ca.gov/?page_id=23110. St. Helena, California. Bay Area Discovery Museum. baykidsmuseum.org. Sausalito, California. Benicia Capital State Historic Park. ProtectBeniciaStateParks.com. Benicia, California. Bernhardt Museum Complex. placer.ca.gov/departments/facilities/museums/local museums/bernhardt.aspx. Auburn, California. Bidwell Mansion State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_id=460. Chico, California. Big Basin Historic Park Nature Lodge. Boulder Creek, California. Bodie State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_id=509. Bridgeport, California. Botanapa Valley State Park Visitor Center, closed. parks.ca.gov/page_id=477. North Calistoga, California. Butano State Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/default.asp?page_id=536. Pescadero, California. Cachuma Lake Nature Center. sbparks.com/docs/cachumacalendar.html. Calaveras Big Trees State Park Visitor Center. Arnold, California. Calaveras County Museum and Archive. CalaverasCoHistorical.com. San Andreas, California. California Citrus State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_id=649. Riverside, California. Carolyn Parr Nature Museum. Napa, California. Castle Crags State Park, closed. parks.ca.gov/page_id=454. Castella, California. Channel Islands National Park. Ventura, California. Charmley Natural Area Park Museum. Malibu, California. China Camp State Park, closed. San Rafael, California. Chinese Museum, Chu Key Store. Fiddletown.info. Fiddletown, California. Chumash Indian Museum. ChumashIndianMuseum.com. Thousand Oaks, California. Codornices Park Rose Garden. Berkeley, California. Colonel Allensworth State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_id=583. Alamart, California. Columbia State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_id=552. Columbia, California. Coyote Hills Regional Park Visitors Center. Crystal Cove State Park Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/page_id=644. Laguna Beach, California. Cuyamaca Ranch State Park Interpretive Center and Indian Museum. Descanso, California. D.L. Bliss State Park. Tahoma, California. Delano Heritage Park. Delano, California. Donner Memorial State Park and Emigrant Trail Museum. parks.ca.gov/page_id=503. Truckee, California. Dunsmuir House and Gardens. dunsmuir.org. Oakland, California. East Bay Regional Parks. Alameda, California. Edward Dean Museum and Gardens. edward-deanmuseum.org. Cherry Valley, California. El Presidio de Santa Barbara State Historic Park. sbthp.org/presidio.htm. Emma Prush Farm Park. prushfarmpark.org. San Jose, California. Empire Mine State Historic Park. EmpireMine.org. Grass Valley, California. Exposition Park Rose Garden. laparques.org/expo Rose Garden. Los Angeles, California. Feather River Nature Center and Native Plant Park. Cityoforoville.org. Oroville, California. Filoli. Filoli.org. Woodside, California. Folger Estate Stable. Hudetwonderlikfriends.org. Ford House Museum. mcn.org/ed/cur/liv/ind/mark/ford.htm. Mendocino, California. Forest Lawn Memorial Park and Museum. Glendale, California. Fort Humboldt State Historic Park Museum, closed. Eureka, California. Fort Ross State Historic Park Visitor Center/Museum. Jenner, California. Fort Tejon State Historic Park, closed. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=585. Lebec, California. Foster Brothers Prospectors Park. Sonora, California. Fresno Flats Historical Park, Larimore Lyman House. Oakhurst, California. Grace Hudson Museum and Son House. GraceHudsonMuseum.org. Ukiah, California. Greystone Park. Beverly Hills, California. Grizzly Creek Redwoods State Park Visitor Center. Carlotta, California. Groveland Yosemite Gateway Museum. GrovelandMuseum.org. Groveland, California. Hangtown's Gold Bug Park and Mine. GoldBugPark.org. Placerville, California. Happy Hollow Park and Zoo. hhpz.org. Harmony Grove Historic Church. mgzoo.com. Lockford, California. Hayward Shoreline Interpretive Center. haywardrec.org/hayshore.html. Hayward, California. Henry Cowell Redwood State Park Nature Center. Felton, California. Heritage Hill Historical Park. ocparks.com/Heritage Hill. Lake Forest, California. Heritage Park. Santa Fe Springs, California. History San Jose. historysanjose.org. Humboldt Lagoon State Park Visitor Center. Oric, California. Humboldt Redwood State Park Visitors Center. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=425. Wyatt, California. Idlewild County Park Visitor Center. Idlewild, California. Indian Grinding Rock State Historic Park Chauncey Museum. Pine Grove, California. Jack London State Historic Park, closed. jacklondonpark.com. Glen Ellen, California. Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park Visitor Center. Crescent City, California. Joseph Spenker Museum. jessiesgravuinery.com. Lodi, California. Kings County Museum at Burris Park. Kingsburg, California. La Purísima Mission State Historic Park. lapurísimamission.org. Lompoc, California. Leland Stanford Mansion State Historic Park, closed. Sacramento, California. Lodi Lake Discovery Center. Lodi.gov. Los Encinos State Historic Park Museum. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=619. Encino, California. Malakoff Diggins State Historic Park, closed. Nevada City, California. Malibu Creek State Park Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=614. Agora Hills, California. Marshall Gold Discovery Museum and Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=484. Coloma, California. Maryvale Nature Center. Fontana.org/index.aspx?NID =196. Fontana, California. Mendocino Headlands State Park. Mexican Museum. MexicanMuseum.org. San Francisco, California. Miners Cabin at Greenhorn Park. Yreka, California. Mission Santa Clara. scu.edu/Mission Church/History. Santa Clara, California. Mono Basin National Forest Scenic Area Visitor Center. manolak.org/visit/vc. Lee Vining, California. Mono Lake Committee. manolak.org. Monterey State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=575. Monterey, California. Mount Diablo State Park Visitor Center. Mount Diablo, California. Mount Tamalpais State Park Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=471. Mill Valley, California. Natural Bridges State Park Visitors Center. Santa Cruz, California. Northern California Veterans Museum and Heritage Center. norcalveteransmuseum.org. Redding, California. Oakland Zoo in Noland Park. oaklandzoo.org/site. Old Sacramento State Historic Park. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=497. Old Town San Diego State Historic Park. San Diego, California. Olivas Adobe Historic Park. olivasadobe.org. Olam Poly State Historic Park, closed. Park Services Division, Photographic Archives. West Sacramento, California. Petaluma Adobe State Historic Park, closed. Sonoma, California. Piedmont Park Japanese Tea Garden. Piedmont, California. Pine Lodge, Airman Mansion, at Sugar Point State Park. Placerita Canyon Park and Nature Center. placerita.org. Newhall, California. Plumas Eureka State Park Museum. Blairsden, California. Portola State Park Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=539. La Honda, California. Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park Visitor Center. Railtown 1897 State Historic Park closed. railtown.org/default.asp. Jamestown, California. Ralph B. Clark Interpretive Center. ocparks.com/Clark Park. Buena Park, California. Ranch House at Anderson Marsh State Historic Park. Kelseyville, California. Rancho Sierra Vista Moorpark College Carriage House. Moorpark, California. Red Car Historical Site. Seal Beach, California. Red Rock Canyon State Park Visitor Center. Cantil, California. Redondo Beach Historical Museum. Redondo Beach, California. Redwood National Park Visitors Center. nps.gov/redw/planyarvisit/visitorcenters.htm. Richardson Grove State Park Visitor Center. parks.ca.gov/page_ID=25241. Riverside County Regional Park/Gilman Ranch. Rose Hills Memorial Park. rosehills.com. Whittier, California. Rotary Nature Center/Lake Merritt Wildlife Refuge. oaklandnet.com/parks/facilities/rnc.asp. Star Echo Station. echostation.org. Culver City, California. San Diego Wild Animal Park. Escondido, California. San Francisco Maritime Historic Park. San Juan Bautista State Historic Park. San Juan Bautista, California. San Pasqual Battlefield State Historic Park and Visitor Center, closed. Santa Cruz Mission State Historic Park, closed. Selma Pioneer Village, Selma, California. Sequoia Park Zoological Society, Shasta State Historic Park, closed. Shasta, California. Sierra County Historical Society, sierracountyhistory.org. Sierra City, California. Sierra Valley Historical Park, Loyalton, California. Sonoma Depot Park Museum, Sonoma State Historic Park. Strathon Historical Park and Museum, cimahistory.com. Simi Valley, California. Sugarloaf Ridge State Park Visitor Center, parks.sonoma.net/sugarlf.html. Kenwood, California. Sutter's Fort State Historic Park, parks.ca.gov/page_ID=485. The Hagen Museum, hagenmuseum.org. Stockton, California. The Living Desert, livingdesert.org. Palm Desert, California. Topanga State Park Visitor Center, Topanga, California. Turtle Bay Exploration Park, turtlebay.org. Van Dam State Park Visitor Center, Vikingsholm at Emerald Bay State Park. Wasama Roundhouse State Historic Park, parks.ca.gov/default.asp?page_ID=586. Ahwahnee, California. Watts Towers of Simon Radia State Historic Park, Weaverville Joss House State Historic Park, closed. Weaverville, California. Wilderness Park Arcadia, Arcadia, California. Will Rogers State Historic Park, Pacific Palisades, California. William B. IDE Adobe State Historic Park, ideadobe.tahoma.k12.ca.us. Red Bluff, California. Woodland Opera House State Historic Park, wotheater.org. Woodland, California. Yolo County Historical Museum, gibsonhouse.org. Colorado Park Museum websites. Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Monument, nps.gov/blca. Montrose, Colorado. Cannon City Palea Park/Garden Park Paleontology Society, Cannon City, Colorado. Cheyenne Mountain Zoological Park and Will Rogers Shrine of the Sun, Colorado Springs, Colorado. City of Greeley Centennial Village Museum, centennialvillagemuseum.com. Greeley, Colorado. Colorado Territorial Prison Museum and Park, prisonmuseum.org. Estes Park Area Historical Museum, estesnet.com/museum. Estes Park, Colorado. Fort Morgan Museum, cityoffortmorgan.com/museum. Fort Morgan, Colorado. 4 Mile Historic Park, formealpark.org. Denver, Colorado. Friends of Dinosaur Ridge, dinoridge.org. Morrison, Colorado. Frisco Historic Park and Museum, friscohistoricpark.com. Frisco, Colorado. Georgetown Loop Historic Mining and Railroad Park, georgetownloopprr.com. Georgetown, Colorado. Lemon Heritage Museum and Railroad Park, Lemon, Colorado. Little Thompson Valley Pioneer Museum, berthoudhistoricalsociety.org/pioneermuseum.hdm. Berthoud, Colorado. Mesa Verde National Park Museum, nps.gov/meve/index.hdm. Mesa Verde, Colorado. Moraine Park Visitor Center, Rocky MTN. Nature Association, National Park Service, IMDE_CNR. North Park Pioneer Museum, North Park Pioneer Association. NorthParkPioneerMuseum.com. Walden, Colorado. Overland Trail Museum. sterlingcolorado.com/page_ID =145. Sterling, Colorado. Park County Historical McCraw Park. parkcountyhistory.com. Bailey, Colorado. Pueblo Zoo. pueblozoo.org. Pueblo, Colorado. Rocky Ford Museum. City of Rockyford.colorado.gov/r-community/museum. Rocky Ford, Colorado. Rocky Mountain Dinosaur Resource Center. rmdrc.com. Woodland Park, Colorado. Silt Historical Park. Silt, Colorado. South Park City Museum, South Park Historical Foundation. southparkcity.org. Fairplay, Colorado. Surface Creek Valley Historical Society, Pioneer Town Museum. pioneertown.org. Cedar Edge, Colorado. Timber Lane Farm Museum. timberlanefarmmuseum.org. Loveland, Colorado. YMCA of the Rockies, Lula W. Dorsey Museum. ymcarockies.org/museum.hdm. Connecticut Park Museum websites. Booth Memorial Park and Museum. boothmemorialpark.org. Stratford, Connecticut. Dinosaur State Park. dinosaurstatepark.org. Rocky Hill, Connecticut. Fort Nathan Hale Restoration Projects, Inc. fort-nathan-hale.org. New Haven, Connecticut. Gillette Castle State Park. dep.state.ct.us/stateparks/parks/gilletteCastle.htm. East Haddam, Connecticut. Ledyard Water Powered Sawmill. sites.google.com/site/Ledyard Sawmill. Ledyard, Connecticut. Norwalk Historical Society. norwalkhistoricalsociety.org. Norwalk, Connecticut. Delaware Park Museum websites. Auburn Heights Preserve. auburnheights.org. Yorkland, Delaware. Bellevue State Park. Wilmington, Delaware. Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. fws.gov/refuge/Bombay_Hook. Smyrna, Delaware. Brandywine Creek Nature CTR. destateparks.com/bcsb/bcsb.asp. Cape Henlopen State Park. Lewis, Delaware. Fort Delaware State Park. Delaware City, Delaware. Governor Ross Mansion and Plantation. SeafordHistoricalSociety.com/visit/gov-ross-plantation. Seaford, Delaware. Holt's Landing St. Park. Millville, Delaware. Lums Pond State Park. destateparks.com. Bear, Delaware. Rockwood Park and Museum. rockwood.org. Seaford Museum. SeafordHistoricalSociety.com. Trap Pond St. Park. Laurel, Delaware. White Clay Creek State Park. Newark, Delaware. Vintertour Museum and Library. vintertour.org. Vintertour, Delaware. District of Columbia Park Museum websites. National Zoological Park. nationalzoo.si.edu. National Park Service Curatorial Services. National Museum of African American History and Culture. washington.org/smithsonian-institution-museums. Washington, District of Columbia. Florida Park Museum websites. Alfred B. Maclay Gardens State Park. floridastateparks.org/maclaygardens/default.cfm. Tallahassee, Florida. American Orchid Society. aos.org. Coral Gables, Florida. Brevard Veterans Memorial Center Museum. veteransmemorialcenter.org. Merritt Island, Florida. Beaches Museum and History Park. beachesmuseum.org. Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Boyd Hill Nature Preserve. sdpeat.org/Boyd. St. Petersburg, Florida. Camp Blanding Museum. campblandingmuseum.org. Stark, Florida. Cape Coral Museum of History. capisalhistoricalmuseum.org. Cape Coral, Florida. Children's Science Explorarium at Sugar Sand Park. scienceexplorarium.org. Boca Raton, Florida. Conservancy of Southwest Florida, Naples Nature Center. conservancy.org. Naples, Florida. Cox Science Center and Aquarium. coxsciencecenter.org. West Palm Beach, Florida. Crowley Museum and Nature Center. crowleyfl.org. Sarasota, Florida. Discovery Center. mydiscoverycenter.org. Ocala, Florida. Ellie Schiller Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park. homosasasprings.org. Homosassa, Florida. Everglades National Park. everglades.national-park.com. Homestead, Florida. Floral City Heritage Hall Museum and Museum Country Store. floralcityhc.org. Floral City, Florida. Fort Caroline National Memorial. Fort DeSoto Park. pinellascounty.org/park/05_ft_DeSoto.hdm. Tierra Verde, Florida. Fort Mose Historic State Park. floridastateparks.org/park/fort-mose. St. Augustine, Florida. Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. fountainofyouthflorida.com. Gulf Islands National Seashore. nps.gov/GUIs. Gulf Breeze, Florida. Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore Cultural Center. brevardparks.com/HeathVM. Mims, Florida. Historic Virginia Key Beach Park and Museum. virginiakeybeachpark.net. Miami, Florida. Homeland Heritage Park. polk-see.menu/subpage.aspx?menu_id=5 2 &NAV=res$ID=948. Homeland, Florida. John Gorey State Museum. floridastateparks.org/John Gorey Museum/default.cfm. Apalachicola, Florida. Key West Tropical Forest and Botanical Garden. keywestbotanicalgarden.org. Key West, Florida. Kingsley Plantation, Timucuan Ecological and Historic Preserve. nps.gov/timu. Little Talbot Island State Park. floridastateparks.org/Little Talbot Island. Jacksonville, Florida. Manatee Village Historical Park. manateevillage.org. Bradenton, Florida. Mandarin Museum and Historical Society. mandarinmuseum.net. Marie Selby Botanical Gardens Historic Spanish Point Campus. selby.org. Osprey, Florida. Matheson History Museum. mathesonmuseum.org. Gainesville, Florida. Moccasin Lake Nature Park. clearwater-fl.com. Clearwater, Florida. Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens. morikami.org. Delray Beach, Florida. Museum of Discovery and Science. mods.org. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oleno State Park. floridastateparks.org/Oleno. High Springs, Florida. Palm Beach Zoo and Conservation Society. palmbeachzoo.org. Panhandle Pioneer Settlement. panhandlepioneer.org. Blountstown, Florida. Port Boca Grande Lighthouse and Museum. Barrier Island Parks Society.org/Port-Boca-Grande-Lighthouse-Museum. Boca Grande, Florida. Sample McDougald House. samplemcdougall.org. Pompano Beach, Florida. Silver River Museum and Environmental Education Center. silverrivermuseum.com. The Barnacle Historic State Park. floridastateparks.org/The Barnacle. Coconut Grove, Florida. The Burroughs Home and Gardens. burroughshome.com. Fort Myers, Florida. The Manello Museum of American Art. manellomuseum.com. Orlando, Florida. Timucuan Ecologic and Historic Preserve. Zoo Tampa at Lowry Park. zootampa.org. Tampa, Florida. staugustinlighthouse.org. Georgia Park Museum websites. Atlanta History Center. atlantahistorycenter.com. Atlanta, Georgia. Aviation Wing of the Marietta Museum of History. mariettahistory.org. Marietta, Georgia. Brasstown Bald Visitor Center. fs.fed.us/conf/rec/btb_overview.html. Blairsville, Georgia. Chattahoochee Nature Center. chattanoogaCenter.org. Roswell, Georgia. Chickamauga-Chattanooga National Military Park. nps.gov/chch/index.hdm. Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Fort McAllister Historic Park. gastateparks.org. Richmond Hill, Georgia. Fort Yargo State Park. gastateparks.org/Fort Yargo. Winder, Georgia. Fort Mountain State Park. gastateparks.org. Chatsworth, Georgia. Georgia Veterans State Park Museum. gastateparks.org/Georgia Veterans. Cordele, Georgia. Georgia Stone Mountain Park. stonemountainpark.org. Stone Mountain, Georgia. Georgia State Parks and Historic Sites. Georgia Museum of Agriculture and Historic Village. abac.edu/museum. Tifton, Georgia. Georgia Department of Natural Resources, Preservation Laboratory. Stockbridge, Georgia. Imagination Station Children's Museum. imagineaugusta.org. Augusta, Georgia. Indian Springs State Park Museum. Flavala, Georgia. Jarrell Plantation State Historic Site. gastateparks.org/info/Jarrell. Juliet, Georgia. Jimmy Carter National Historic Site. nps.gov/jica/index.hdm. Plains, Georgia. Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park. nps.gov/chemo. Kennesaw, Georgia. Kalamoki Mounds State Park Museum. gastateparks.org/Kalamoki Mounds. Blakely, Georgia. Old Fort Jackson. chsgeorgia.org/home.cfm/page/oldfortjackson.hdm. Savannah, Georgia. Panola Mountain State Conservation Park. Providence Canyon State Park. Stone Mountain Park. stonemountainpark.com. Sweetwater Creek State Park. gastateparks.org/Sweetwater Creek. Lithia Springs, Georgia. Hawaii Park Museum websites. Ahupua ao Kahana State Park. hawaiimuseums.org/mc/izoahu_kahana.hdm. Hauula, Hawaii. Allerton Garden. ntbg.org/gardens/Allerton. Koloa, Hawaii. Haleakala National Park. nps.gov/hail/pages/tier_1/home.hdm. Makawao, Hawaii. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. nps.gov/havo/home.hdm. Hawaii National Park, Hawaii. Hi'i'a State Park. hawaiimuseums.org/mc/izoahu_hei'a.hdm. Kaneohe, Hawaii. Kahanu Garden. ntbg.org/gardens/kahanu. Hana, Hawaii. Kalaupapa National Historical Park. nps.gov/kala/home.hdm. Kalaupapa, Hawaii. Lapakahi State Historical Park. hawaiimuseums.org/mc/f Hawaii_lapakahi.hdm. Kapau, Hawaii. McBride Garden. ntbg.org/gardens/McBride. Parker Ranch Visitor Center and Museum. parkerranch.com/visitorcenter.php. Parker Ranch Historic Homes. parkerranch.com/historichomes.php. Kamuela, Hawaii. Pu'uhonua'ohona'u National Historical Park. hawaiimuseums.org/mc/is_hawaii_pu'uhonua.hdm. Hona'u Now, Hawaii. Sea Life Park Hawaii. sealeafparkhawaii.com. Waimanalo, Hawaii. The Contemporary Museum, Honolulu. tcmhi.org. Honolulu, Hawaii. USS Bowfin Submarine Museum and Park. bowfin.org. Waimea Valley and Adventure Park. hawaiiweb.com/html/waimea_valley_adventure_park_act.html. Haleiwa, Hawaii. Idaho Park Museum websites. Boise Basin Museum. Idaho City, Idaho. Hess Heritage Museum. Ashton, Idaho. Massacre Rock State Park. American Falls, Idaho. Nez Perce National Historical Park. nps.gov/nepi. Spalding, Idaho. Old Mission State Park. Cataldo, Idaho. Totfas Park Zoo. Idaho Falls idaho.gov. Idaho Falls, Idaho. World Center for Birds of Prey. peregrinefund.org. Boise, Idaho. Illinois Park Museum websites. Albert F. Kaiser Memorial Park and Museum. Highland, Illinois. Bourbonnais Township Park DIST. btpd.org. Bourbonnais, Illinois. Cahokia Mountains State Historic Site. cahokiamountains.org. Collinsville, Illinois. Cantigny Gardens and Museums. cantigny.org. Wheaton, Illinois. Chicago Zoological Park. brookfieldzoo.org. Brookfield, Illinois. Crabtree Nature Center. fpdcc.com/tier3.php ?content_id =5 file $abt_5a. Barrington, Illinois. Fabian Villa Museum and Japanese Garden. ppfv.org/fabian.hdm. Geneva, Illinois. Fort Crevecoeur. ftcrevecoeur.org/history.hdm. Crevecoeur, Illinois. Fort Massac State Park and Hist. Site. Metropolis, Illinois. Garfield Park Conservatory. garfield-conservatory.org. Chicago, Illinois. Gol Luthi Mem. Botanical Garden. Peoria, Illinois. Heritage Canyon. City of Fulton.us/index.php $?m_m_tree &task =view link &link_id =6 &item id =98. Fulton, Illinois. Highland Park Conservation Society. Highland Park, Illinois. Hist. Pres. Commission of Oak Park. Oak Park, Illinois. Hist. SOC of Oak Park and River Forest. oprfhistory.org. Hoffman Estates Park District. Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Hyde Park Art Center. hydeparkart.org. Hyde Park Historical Society. hydeparkhistory.org. I&M Canal National Heritage COR. nps.gov/ilmi Lockport, Illinois. Illinois Canal Society. Jersey County Historical Society. JerseyUSA.net. Jerseyville, Illinois. Clem Arboretum and Botanic Garden. Clem.org. Rockford, Illinois. Lake County Museum Association. Wauconda, Illinois. Lincoln Home National Historic Site. nps.gov/liho. Springfield, Illinois. Lincoln Park Conservatory. Lincoln Park Zoological Gardens. lpzoo.com. Lisle Station Park. lisleparkdistrict.org/museum.hdm. Lisle, Illinois. Lockport Township Park DIST. lockportpark.org. Lords Park Municipal Zoo. Elgin, Illinois. Macoupin County Historical Society. macsociety.org. Carlinville, Illinois. Miller Park Zoo. cityblm.org/parks/miller-park-zoo/about-the-zoo.htm. Bloomington, Illinois. Morton Grove Park District. mortongroveparks.com. Morton Grove, Illinois. Mundelein Park and Recreation District. mundeleinparks.org. Mundelein, Illinois. Napier Settlement. napiersettlement.museum. Naperville, Illinois. Norwood Park Historical Society. norwoodparkhistoricalsociety.org. Oak Park Conservatory. oakparkparks.com/parks/pf_18.htm. Park Ridge Heritage Committee. parkridge.us. Park Ridge, Illinois. Parkland College Theater. parkland.edu. Champaign, Illinois. Parks District of Oak Park Hist. Houses. Preservation Partners of Fox Valley. ppfv.org. St. Charles, Illinois. ROP MEM. MUS/Buffalo Grove Park DIST. bgparkdistrict.org. Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Red Oak Nature Center. Fox Valley Park District.org. North Aurora, Illinois. Ridge Historical Society. ridgehistoricalsociety.org. Riverfront Museum Park. Rochelle Railroad Park. RochelleRailroadPark.org. Rochelle, Illinois. Rockford Park District. Rogers Park/West Ridge Historical Society. rpwrhs.org. Schiller Park Hist. Commission/SOC. villageofschillerpark.com/about/history.aspx. Schiller Park, Illinois. Spring Valley Coal Mine No. 1 Project. Spring Valley, Illinois. Starved Rock State Park. starvedrockstatepark.org. Utica, Illinois. Stone Park Hist. Asso, Village Hall. Stone Park, Illinois. Streamwood Park District. streamwoodparkdistrict.org. Streamwood, Illinois. Three Sisters Park. threesisterspark.com. Chillicothe, Illinois. Tinley Park Historical Society. Tinley Park, Illinois. Urbana Park District. urbanaparks.org. Urbana, Illinois. Villa Park Historical Museum. vphistoricalsociety.com. Villa Park, Illinois. Village of Franklin Park B12 Tower. villageoffranklinpark.com. Franklin Park, Illinois. Wayne County Historical Society. Fairfield, Illinois. Wildlife Prairie Park. wildlifeprairiestatepark.org. Will Joliet Bicentennial Park. bicentennialpark.org/main.html. Joliet, Illinois. Woodlands Native American Indian Museum. Palos Heights, Illinois. Indiana Park Museum websites. Battelle Park/Shoji Niwa Japanese Gardens. MishawakaCity.com. Mishawaka, Indiana. Buckley Homestead County Park. lakecountyparks.com/buckley.html. Lowell, Indiana. Clifty Falls State Park. in.gov/dnr/parklake/in/Clifty. Madison, Indiana. Columbian Park Zoo. columbianparkzoo.org. Lafayette, Indiana. Conner Prairie. connerprairie.org. Fishers, Indiana. Falls of the Ohio State Park Interpretive Center. fallsoftheohio.org. Clarksville, Indiana. Forks of the Wabash Historic Park. historicforks.org. Huntington, Indiana. Fort Harrison State Park. Indianapolis, Indiana. Garfield Park Conservatory and Sunken Gardens. garfieldgardensconservatory.org. George Rogers Clark National Historic Park. Vincennes, Indiana. Gianteth Ship Corp. giantethship.com. Pendleton, Indiana. Griffith Historical Park and Depot Museum. Griffith, Indiana. Joseph Moore Museum of Natural History. earlham.edu/jmm. Richmond, Indiana. Lincoln State Park. Lincoln City, Indiana. Lincoln Pioneer Village and Museum. lincolnpioneervillage.com. Rockport, Indiana. Log Jail Museum/Chapel in the Park. Greenfield, Indiana. Mesker Park Zoo. meskerparkzoo.com. Evansville, Indiana. Mountains State Park. mountainstatepark.org. Anderson, Indiana. Museum of 20th Century Warfare. m20cwinfo.org. North American Wildlife Park Foundation. Battleground, Indiana. Park County Historical Museum. rootsweb.com/in/park County Historical Society.htm. Rockville, Indiana. Potato Creek State Park Nature Center. indianatraveler.com/state_parks/potato_creek.htm. North Library, Indiana. Ruthmere Museum. ruthmere.org. Elkhart, Indiana. Spring Mill State Park Museums. Mitchell, Indiana. Swiss Heritage Society, Inc. SwissHeritage.org. Bern, Indiana. Swiss Heritage Village and Museum. Turkey Run State Park. turkeyrunstatepark.com. Marshall, Indiana. Washington Park Zoo. michigancityparks.com/index.php/zoo-home. Michigan City, Indiana. Wesselman Park Nature Center. Iowa Park Museum websites. Effigy Mountains National Monument. nps.gov/fmo. Harpers Ferry, Iowa. Forest Park Museum. Perry, Iowa. George M. Verity Riverboat Museum. geometryverity.org. Keokuk, Iowa. Hawkeye Log Cabin. Burlington, Iowa. Kate Shelley Railroad Museum and Park. Moingona, Iowa. Montauk Historic Site. state.ia.us/government/dca/shsi. Claremont, Iowa. Nathaniel Hamlin Museum and Park. auduboncounty.com/tourism/attraction. Audubon, Iowa. Old Bradford Pioneer Village. Chickasawtrails.com. Nashua, Iowa. The Laura Ingalls Wilder Park and Museum. bluffcountry.com/liwbo.htm. Burr Oak, Iowa. The Danish Immigrant Museum. dkmuseum.org. Elkhorn, Iowa. The Fluxus Indian Museum. fluxus.org/museum/museum.htm. Coon Rapids, Iowa. Kansas Park Museum websites. Legler Barn Museum. leglerbarn.org. Lenexa, Kansas. Riley County Historical Museum. Riley County ks.gov/index.asp?NID =328. Manhattan, Kansas. Topeka Zoological Park. topekazoo.org. Topeka, Kansas. Kentucky Park Museum websites. Ark Encounter. arkencounter.com. Williamstown, Kentucky. Audubon Saint Park and Museum. Henderson, Kentucky. Bell's Tavern Hist. Park. Park City, Kentucky. Ft. Boonesboro Saint Park. Richmond, Kentucky. Historic Rail Park and Train Museum. historicrailpark.com. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Kentucky Horse Park. kyhorsepark.com. Lexington, Kentucky. KY Department of Parks. parks.ky.gov. Frankfort, Kentucky. Locust Grove. locustgrove.org. Louisville, Kentucky. Mammoth Cave Nat. Park. mammothcave.com. Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. Mountain Life Museum. London, Kentucky. Old Fort Harrod State Park. Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Chapter 2. Park Museums 2. Louisiana Park Museum websites. Alexandria Zoological Park. thelexandriazoo.com. Alexandria, Louisiana. Louisiana Office of State Parks. crt.state.la.us/parks. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Marksville State Historic Site. Marksville, Louisiana. W.B. Jacobs Memorial Nature Park. Shreveport, Louisiana. Main Park Museum websites. Caribou Historical Center and Museum. Visitaroostic.com/article/caribou_historical_center_museum. Caribou, Maine. Costini Historical Society. CostiniHistoricalSociety.org. Costini, Maine. Maine Historical Society and Museum. MaineHistory.org. Portland, Maine. Rangeley Lakes Logging Museum. RLRLM.org. Rangeley, Maine. The Curran Homestead Living History Farm and Museum. CurranHomestead.org. Orrington, Maine. Woodlawn Museum, Gardens and Park. Woodlawnmuseum.com. Ellsworth, Maine. Maryland Park Museum websites. Accokeek Foundation at Piscataway Park. accokeek.org. Accokeek, Maryland. Agricultural History Farm Park. mc-mncpp.org/parks/facilities/ag_farm.shtm. Durwood, Maryland. Anne-Marie Sculpture Garden and Arts Center. annemariegarden.org. Solomons, Maryland. Battle Creek Cypress Swamp Sanctuary. calvertparks.org. Prince Frederick, Maryland. Benjamin Banneker Historical Park and Museum Inc. Baltimore CountyMD.gov/agencies/recreation/county parks. Baltimore, Maryland. Brick Meeting House and Plumpton Park Zoo. Rising Sun, Maryland. C&O Canal National Historical Park. nps.gov/choh. Sharpsburg, Maryland. Carroll's 100/Carroll Park Foundation Inc. carroll's100.org. Castleman State Park. dnr.state.md.us. Grantsville, Maryland. Clear Spring District Historical Association. clearspring.md.gov/clear-spring-historical-association. Clear Spring, Maryland. Cunningham Falls State Park. Sylvan Arboretum Association. sylvanassociation.org. Dundalk-Patapsco Historical Society and Museum. Dundalk Train Garden at blogpost.com. Dundalk, Maryland. Duval Tool Museum. mncppc.org/2099/about-the-museums. Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Evergreen Museum and Library. Museums.jhu.edu. Fort Frederick State Park. Big Pool, Maryland. Fort Washington Park. nps.gov/fawas/index.htm. Fort Washington, Maryland. Friends of Gathland State Park. Gathland.org. Buckettsville, Maryland. Gunpowder Falls State Park. JerusalemMill.org. Kingsville, Maryland. Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Visitor Center. nps.gov/hatu/index.htm. Church Creek, Maryland. Heritage Preservation Society at Heritage Farm Park. Walkersville, Maryland. Historic Savage Mill. SavageMill.com. Savage, Maryland. Historical Society of Frederick County Inc. hsfcinfo.org. Frederick, Maryland. Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum. St. Leonard, Maryland. MD National Capital Park and Planning Commission. Montpelier Mansion. pgparks.com/places/elegant-historic/Montpelier_intro.html. Laurel, Maryland. Needwood Mansion. montgomeryparks.org. Rockville, Maryland. Oakley Cabin African American Museum and Park. oakleycabin.org. Olney, Maryland. Oxon Hill Farm/Oxon Cove Park. nps.gov. Oxon Hill, Maryland. Pemberton Hall. pembertonhall.org. Salisbury, Maryland. Piney Point Lighthouse Museum and Park. Piney Point, Maryland. Robinson Nature Center. howardcountymd.gov/robinsonnaturecenter.htm. Columbia, Maryland. Salisbury Zoological Park. salisburyzoo.org. Sandy Spring Museum. sandyspringmuseum.org. Sandy Spring, Maryland. Smallwood State Park. Marbury, Maryland. Susquehanna Museum of Havre de Grace Inc. lockhousemuseum.org. Havre de Grace, Maryland. Susquehanna State Park Historic Sites/Museums. Jarrettsville, Maryland. U.S. Army Ordnance Museum. ordmusefound.org. Aberdeen, Maryland. Washington Monument State Park. Boonesboro, Maryland. Washington Monument and Mount Vernon Place. mvpconservancy.org. Westside Historical Society, Inc. westsidehistorical.com. Mardella Springs, Maryland. Massachusetts Park Museum websites. Benjamin Carroll House. doverhistoricalsociety.org/sites.html. Dover, Massachusetts. Berlin Farms. berlinfarms.com/visitus. Berlin, Massachusetts. Boston National Historical Park. Boston African American National Historic Site. nps.gov/boaf. Boston, Massachusetts. Buttonwood Park Zoo. bpzoo.org. New Bedford, Massachusetts. DeCordova Museum and Sculpture Park. dcordova.org. Lincoln, Massachusetts. Friends of Bridgewater Iron Works Park. Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Holyoke Heritage State Park. mass.gov/dcr/parks/central/hhsb.hdm. Holyoke, Massachusetts. Maudslay State Park Association. mass.gov/dcr/parks/northeast/maud.hdm. Newburyport, Massachusetts. Plymouth Plantation, Inc. Plymouth.org. Plymouth, Massachusetts. Willard House and Clock Museum. willardhouse.org. North Grafton, Massachusetts. Michigan Park Museum websites. Birmingham Historical Museum and Park. ci.birmingham.mi.us. Birmingham, Michigan. Celery Flats Historical Area, City of Portage Parks and Rec. Department. kalamazoo.com/celery.hdm. Portage, Michigan. Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park. meyergardens.org. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission. geneseecountyparks.org. Flint, Michigan. Historic Charlton Park Village, Muse. And Rec. Area. charltonpark.org. Hastings, Michigan. Mackinac State Historic Parks. MackinacParks.com. Mackinac Island, Michigan. Marshall Historical Society. marshallhistoricalsociety.org. Marshall, Michigan. Midland Center for the Arts. mcfta.org. Midland County Historical Society. mcfta.org/exhibitions mchs.html. Midland, Michigan. Parks and Recreation Committee, Presque Isle Township. Presque Isle, Michigan. Potter Park Zoological Society. potterparkzoo.org. Lansing, Michigan. Rochester Hills Museum at Van Hoosen Farm. Rochester Hills, Michigan. Vicksburg Historical Society. vicksburghistory.org. Vicksburg, Michigan. Minnesota Park Museum websites. Carver Park Reserve/Lowry Nature CTR. Victoria, Minnesota. Chippewa County Historical Society. Montevideo, Minnesota. Ft. Snelling State Park. St. Paul, Minnesota. Hennepin Parks. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Iron Horse Central Railroad Museum. ironhorsecentral.com. Chisago City, Minnesota. Minnesota Historical Society. mnhs.org. Ramsey County Parks and Recreation. co.ramsey.mn.us/parks. Mississippi Park Museum websites. Biloxi Parks Recreation and Cultural. Biloxi, Mississippi. Grand Gulf Military State Park Museum. grandgulfpark.state.ms.us. Port Gibson, Mississippi. Jackson Zoological Park. jacksonzoo.org. Jackson, Mississippi. Natchez Trace Parkway. Tupelo, Mississippi. The Crosby Arboretum. crosbyarboretum.msstate.edu. Picayune, Mississippi. Tunica River Park and Museum. tunicariverpark.com. Robinsonville, Mississippi. Missouri Park Museum websites. Civil War Museum of Jackson Co. historiclonejack.org. Lone Jack, Missouri. Dickerson Park Zoo. dickersonparkzoo.org. Springfield, Missouri. Friends of Jefferson Barracks. St. Louis, Missouri. Friends of Tower Grove Park. towergrovepark.org. George Washington Carver National Monument. nps.gov/gwcs/index.htm. Diamond, Missouri. Historic Bethel German Colony. Bethel, Missouri. Laumeier Sculpture Park. laumeiersculpturepark.org. Lutheran Heritage Center and Museum. altenburgmuseum.org. Altenburg, Missouri. Merrimack Museum. merrimackspringpark.com/merrimack/museum/index.html. St. James, Missouri. Pershing Park Memorial Association. Lockleed, Missouri. St. Louis Art Museum. slam.org. St. Louis County Parks Department. Clayton, Missouri. Van Meter State Park. mostateparks.com/park/van-meter-state-park. Miami, Missouri. Village of Marquand Hist Park. Marquand, Missouri. Montana Park Museum websites. Bannack State Park. stateparks.com/bannack.html. Dillon, Montana. Bighorn County Museum Historical Society. bighorncountymuseum.org. Hardin, Montana. Chief Plenty Coups State Parks. Billings, Montana. Macoshika State Park. macoshika.org. Glendive, Montana. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks. fwp.mt.gov. Helena, Montana. Nevada City Living History Museum. virginiacitymt.com. Virginia City, Montana. Park County Museum. livingstonmuseums.org/pcm/pchsmain.html. Livingston, Montana. Swan Ecosystem Center. swanecosystemcenter.org. Condon, Montana. Tobacco Valley Board of History. tobaccovalleyhistory.org. Eureka, Montana. Ulm-Pishkin State Park. Great Falls, Montana. Upper Swan Valley Historical Society Museum. swanvalleyhistoricalsociety.org. Nebraska Park Museum websites. Agate Fossil Beds National Monument. nps.gov/agfo/index.hdm. Harrison, Nebraska. Arbor Lodge State Historical Park. nebraska.gov. Nebraska City, Nebraska. Ash Hollow State Historical Park. Llewellyn, Nebraska. Ashfall Fossil Beds State Historical Park. ashfall.unl.edu. Royal, Nebraska. Buffalo Bill Ranch State Historical Park. North Platte, Nebraska. Buffalo County Historical Society/Trails and Rails Museum. bchs.us. Kearney, Nebraska. Champion Mill State Historical Park. Champion, Nebraska. Fort Atkinson State Historical Park. fortatkinsononline.org. Fort Calhoun, Nebraska. Fort Kearny State Historical Park. Homestead National Monument. nps.gov/home. Beatrice, Nebraska. Knight Museum and Sandhills Center. Alliance, Nebraska. Lincoln Children's Museum. lincolnchildrensmuseum.org. Lincoln, Nebraska. MRB Lewis and Clark Center. mrb-lewisandclarkcenter.org. Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. outdoornebraska.ne.gov. Nebraska Firefighters Museum and Education Center. nebraskafirefightersmuseum.com. Pony Express Station Museum. gothenburgdelivers.com. Gothenburg, Nebraska. Rock Creek Station State Historical Park. Fairbury, Nebraska. Trailside Museum Fort Robinson State Park. Crawford, Nebraska. Nevada Park Museum websites. Allen Bible Visitor Center. home.nps.gov/lame/planyarvisit/visitorcenters.htm. Boulder, Nevada. Belmont Courthouse State Historic Site. Fallon, Nevada. Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. statenv.us/stparks/bi.htm. Austin, Nevada. Clark County Museum. clarkcountynv.gov. Henderson, Nevada. Goldfield Historic Equipment Park. Goldfield, Nevada. Great Basin National Park. nps.gov/grbia. Baker, Nevada. Mormon Station State Historic Park. Genoa, Nevada. Old Las Vegas Mormon Fort Historic Park. parks.nv.gov/olvmf.htm. Las Vegas, Nevada. Searchlight Historic Museum and Historic Mining Park. searchlighthistoricmuseum.org. Searchlight, Nevada. Sparks Heritage Foundation and Museum. Sparks, Nevada. Spring Mountain Ranch State Park. parks.nv.gov/smr.hdm. Blue Diamond, Nevada. Tonopah Mining Park. Tonopah Historic Mining Park.com. Tonopah, Nevada. Valley of Fire State Park Visitors Center. parks.nv.gov/parks/valley-of-fire-state-park. Overton, Nevada. New Hampshire Park Museum websites. Andres Institute of Art. andresinstitute.org. Brookline, New Hampshire. Founders Park. hamptonhistoricalsociety.org/foundpk.hdm. Hampton, New Hampshire. Hampton Historical Society. hamptonhistoricalsociety.org. Northern Forest Heritage Park. northernforestheritage.org. Berlin, New Hampshire. Seacoast Science Center. seacoastsciencecenter.org. Rye, New Hampshire. Tuck Museum. hamptonhistoricalsociety.org/tuck.hdm. New Jersey Park Museum websites. Allaire Village. allyravillage.org. Wall, New Jersey. Day Mansion. nj-passaiccountY.civic+.com/facilities/details/day-mansion-25. Wayne, New Jersey. Fort Lee Historic Park and Museum. Fort Lee, New Jersey. Red Mill Museum. theredmill.org. Clinton, New Jersey. Stickley Museum at Craftsman Farms. stickleymuseum.org. Morris Plains, New Jersey. The Cora Hartshorn Arboretum. hartshornarboretum.org. Short Hills, New Jersey. Thomas Edison National Historical Park. nps.gov/ADIS. West Orange, New Jersey. New Mexico Park Museum websites. Alameda Park Zoo. Alamogordo, New Mexico. Capelin Volcano National Monument. Capelin, New Mexico. Carlsbad Caverns National Park. carlsbad.caverns.national-park.com. Carlsbad, New Mexico. Casasola Museum/Museo Casasola. casasolamuseum.com. casasolamuseum.org. Old Mesilla, New Mexico. Chaco Museum Collection, National Park Service. nps.gov/museums/exhibits/chcu/index1.html. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Chaco Cultural Net. HIST. ParkNet. ParkServe. Nageezi, New Mexico. El Rancho de las Golondrinas. golondrinas.org. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Living Desert Zoo and Gardens State Park. mnrd.state.nm.us/prd/livingdesert.htm. Pancho Villa State Park. Columbus, New Mexico. Pecos National Historical Park. Rio Grande Zoological Park. Rio Grande Nature Center State Park. rgnc.org. Salmon Ruins Museum. salmonruins.com. Bloomfield, New Mexico. Smoky Bear Historical State Park. Capitan, New Mexico. Spring River Zoo. roswell.nm.gov/static pages/index.php/pd1_zoo. Roswell, New Mexico. Toy Train Depot Museum and Train Ride. toytraindepot.homestead.com. New York Park Museum websites. 9/11 Memorial Museum. 911memorial.org. New York City, New York. Bear Mountain Trailside Museum's Wildlife Center. Bear Mountain, New York. Belvedere Castle/Central Park Learning Center. New York, New York. Bennington Battlefield State Historic Site. newyorksparks.com/historic-sites/12/details.aspx. Grafton, New York. Bronx Zoo/Wildlife Conservation Park. bronxzoo.com. Bronx, New York. Buffalo History Museum. buffalohistory.org. Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park. buffalonavalpark.org. Buffalo, New York. Central Park Visitor Center. Central Park Wildlife Center. County of Westchester, Department of Parks, Recreation and Conservation. Mount Kisco, New York. Dickman Farmhouse House Museum and Park. dickmanfarmhouse.org. Erie Canal Village. eriecanalvillage.net. Rome, New York. Fire Island National Seashore. nps.gov/FIIS. Patchogue, New York. Georgie Museum and Park Center. Shushan, New York. Graydon H. Taylor Wine Museum. bullyhillvineyards.com/about/museum. Hammondsport, New York. Guy Park State Historic Site. Amsterdam, New York. Halleckville Museum Farm. halleckville.com. Riverhead, New York. Historic Huguenot Street. huguenotstreet.org. New Paltz, New York. John J. Homestead State Historic Site. johnjhomestead.org. Kadena, New York. Knox HDQTS. State Hist. Site. Vales Gate, New York. Locust Grove, the Samuel F. B. Morse Historic Site. lgnewyork.org. Poughkeepsie, New York. Museum Village in Orange County. museumvillage.org. Monroe, New York. New Windsor Cantonment State Historic Site. friendsofpalisades.org. Oyster Ponds Historical Society. Orient, New York. Peter Clayson Wyckoff House Museum. wyckoffAssociation.org. Brooklyn, New York. Prospect Park Wildlife Center. Rosamond Gifford Zoo at Burnett Park. rosamondgiffordzoo.org. Syracuse, New York. Saratoga National Historical Park. Stillwater, New York. Saratoga Springs Urban Heritage Area, aka Urban Cultural Park. SaratogaSpringsVisitorCenter.com. Saratoga Springs, New York. Schenectady County Historical Society. schist.org. Schenectady, New York. Seneca Park Zoo. senecaparkzoo.org. Rochester, New York. Suffolk County Vanderbilt Museum. vanderbiltmuseum.org. Centerport, New York. The Pember Nature Preserve. pembermuseum.com. East Hebron, New York. William H. Minor Agricultural Research Institute. whminor.org/heritageexhibit.html. Chazy, New York. Women's Rights National Historical Park. Seneca Falls, New York. Chapter 3. Park Museums 3. North Carolina Park Museum Websites. Alamance Battleground State Historic Site. nchhistoricsite.org/alamance/alamanc.htm. Burlington, North Carolina. Airmount, Historic Site. classicalamericanhomes.org. Hillsborough, North Carolina. Bennett Place State Historic Site. Bennett Place Historic Site. bennettplacehistoricsite.com. Durham, North Carolina. Brunswick Town State Historic Site. nchhistoricsite.org/brunswic/brunswic.htm. Winnebago, North Carolina. Cameron Art Museum. cameronartmuseum.com. Wilmington, North Carolina. Carolina Bronze Sculpture Garden and Foundry. cbsculpturegarden.com. Seagrove, North Carolina. Charlotte Museum of History and Hezekiah Alexander Home Site. charlottemuseum.org. Charlotte, North Carolina. Cliffs of the New State Park. Seven Springs, North Carolina. Crowder's Mountain State Park. Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Guilford Courthouse National Military Park. nps.gov/guco/index.htm. Greensboro, North Carolina. High Point Museum. highpointmuseum.org. High Point, North Carolina. Historic Bethabara Park. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. May Museum and Park. farmville.nc.com/departments_maymuseum.htm. Farmville, North Carolina. Morrow Mountain State Park. ncparks.gov/visit/parks/momo/main.php. Albemarle, North Carolina. Mount Mitchell State Park. Burnsville, North Carolina. Mountain Farm Museum and Mingus Mill. nps.gov/grsm/planyarvisit/mfm.htm. Cherokee, North Carolina. North Carolina Zoological Park. nczoo.org. Asheboro, North Carolina. Poplar Grove Plantation. poplargrove.com. Textile Heritage Museum. textileheritagemuseum.org. Zoological Park. North Dakota Park Museum websites. Almont Heritage Park and Museum. Almont, North Dakota. Bonanzaville Pioneer Village and Museums. bonanzaville.org. West Fargo, North Dakota. Chahinkapa Park Zoo Roger Enstrom Nature Center. Wahpeton, North Dakota. Dickey County Historical Park. Oaks, North Dakota. Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. fortlincoln.com. Mandan, North Dakota. Fort Ransom State Park Visitor Center. fortransomnd.com/state_park_8.html. Fort Ransom, North Dakota. Fort Mandan and Heritage Park. Washburn, North Dakota. Heritage Park and Museums. Garrison, North Dakota. Mothers Pioneer Park. Mayville, North Dakota. Pioneer Heritage Center Royce-Landic State Park. Cavalier, North Dakota. Prairie Outpost Park. Dickinson, North Dakota. Roosevelt Park Zoo Education Center. rpzoo.com. Minot, North Dakota. Theodore Roosevelt National Park, South Unit Visitor Center. Theodore Roosevelt National Park, North Unit Visitor Center. nps.gov/through. Medora, North Dakota. Ohio Park Museum websites. Akron Zoological Park. akronzoo.org/default.aspx?ASBX autodetect cookie so p-port =1. Akron, Ohio. Caesars Creek Pioneer Village, Inc. CaesarsCreekPioneerVillage.org. Waynesville, Ohio. Carillon Historical Park. activedayton.com/community/groups/Carillon. Dayton, Ohio. Carriage Hill Metro Park Farm. Chippewarogs Hollow Historical Society. chippewarogshallow.org. Doylestown, Ohio. Cincinnati Observatory Center. cincinnatiobservatory.org. Cincinnati, Ohio. Clark County Park District. Springfield, Ohio. Cleveland Metroparks Zoo. clemetzoo.com. Cleveland Metroparks System. Cleveland, Ohio. Daniel Hertzler Hughes Museum. Clark County Park District.org/HertzlerHouseMuseum.html. Five Rivers Metroparks. Metroparks.org. Fort Recovery State Memorial, Ohio Historical Society. ohsweb.ohiohistory.org/places/nw07/index.shtml. Fort Recovery, Ohio. Friends of the Topiary Park. topiarygarden.org. Columbus, Ohio. Fulton County, O. Museum and Fulton County Historical Society. fultoncountyas.org. Wauseon, Ohio. Garden View Horticultural Park. organicslant.com/gvhp. Strongsville, Ohio. Glendower Mansion. wchsmuseum.org/index.php/Glendower-Mansion. Lebanon, Ohio. Kemper Rail Park. maydrivermuseum.org/Kemper-Rail-Park. Bellevue, Ohio. Lake Farm Park. Kirtland, Ohio. Lake Metroparks. lakemetroparks.com. Concord, Ohio. Lorain County Metroparks. metroparks.cc. LaGrange, Ohio. Malabar Farm State Park. malabarfarm.org. Lucas, Ohio. National Veterans Memorial and Museum. nationalvmm.org. Northfield Park. northfieldpark.com. Northfield, Ohio. Olander Park System. olanderpark.com. Sylvania, Ohio. Old Fort Steuben Project Inc. oldfortsteuben.com. Steubenville, Ohio. Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and Museum. pyramidhill.org. Hamilton, Ohio. Slate Run Living Historical Farm/Metroparks. Asheville, Ohio. Warren County History Center. wchsmuseum.org. Oklahoma Park Museum websites. Cherokee Strip Museum. CHEROKEE-STRIP-MUSEUM.org. Perry, Oklahoma. Forest Heritage Center and Museum. forestry.ok.gov/FHC. Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Fort Washita Military Park. Durant, Oklahoma. Frisco Depot and Museum. friscodepot.org. Hugo, Oklahoma. Greenleaf State Park Nature Center. shopoklahoma.com/greenlee.htm. Braggs, Oklahoma. Harn Homestead Museum. harnhomestead.com. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Heavener Runestone State Park. Heavener, Oklahoma. Muskogee War Memorial Park and Military Museum. Muskogee, Oklahoma. Pawneebill Ranch and Museum. PawneeBillsWildWestShow.com. Pawnee, Oklahoma. Quanah Parker Center. Indiahoma, Oklahoma. Quanah Parker Star House. Cache, Oklahoma. Shattuck Windmill Museum and Park. Shattuck, Oklahoma. Standing Bear Park. StandingBearPark.com. Ponca City, Oklahoma. Totem Pole Park C/O Rogers County Hist Society. rchs1.org. Claremore, Oklahoma. Triangle Heritage Museum Association of the Cherokee Outlet. Cleveland, Oklahoma. Tucker Tower Nature Center. Ardmore, Oklahoma. Oregon Park Museum websites. Collier Memorial State Park Logging Museum. collierloggingmuseum.org. Chiloquin, Oregon. Philip Foster Farm. phillyfosterfarm.com. Eagle Creek, Oregon. Springfield Museum. springfieldmuseum.com. Springfield, Oregon. The History Museum of Hood River County. co.hood-river.or.us/museum. Hood River, Oregon. Wayne Morse Ranch Park. Eugene, Oregon. Pennsylvania Park Museum websites. Albertus Lockridge Historical Society. alhs18011.org. Albertus, Pennsylvania. Angora Gardens, Mundayo Community Services. angoragardens.org. White Oak, Pennsylvania. Appalachian Trail Museum. at museum.org. Gardner's, Pennsylvania. Association for Public Art. Associationforpublicart.org. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Brandywine Battlefield Park. Chadsford, Pennsylvania. Brandywine River Museum. brandywinemuseum.org. Briarbush Nature Center. briarbush.org. Abington, Pennsylvania. Bucks County Department. Parks and Recreation. buckscounty.org/government/departments/parks and rec. Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Bushy Run Battlefield Heritage Society. bushyrunbattlefield.com. Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Chestnut Hill Historical Society. chhist.org. Depreciation Lands Museum. depreciationlandsmuseum.org. Allison Park, Pennsylvania. Fairmount Park Commission. fairmountpark.org. Fort Hunter Mansion and Park. fourthinter.org. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Friends of Independence National Park. friendsofindependence.org. Friends of the Robesonia Furnace. friendsoftherobesonia-furnace.org. Robesonia, Pennsylvania. Gettysburg National Military Park. nps.gov/pwr/sendmail.htm?o=% sign 3b 3% sign 28% sign 23% sign 2fkz% sign 2b% sign 20njr1j1ja% sign 5b 1% sign 2aej 4% sign 2e3 4j% sign 5d 2% sign 5f 16% sign 2 1% sign 2 2x% sign 0 /get/contacts.htm. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Historical and Genealogical Society of Somerset County. somersethistoricalcenter.org. Somerset, Pennsylvania. Independence National Historical Park. independencevisitorcenter.com. Kalmbach Memorial Park. kalmbachpark.com. Makunji, Pennsylvania. Lakawak Sanctuary. lakawak.org. Lake Ariel, Pennsylvania. Laurel Hill Mansion, Women for Greater Philadelphia. mysite.verizon.net/vzeqfkn7. National Pike Steam, Gas and Horse Association. nationalpike.com. Brownsville, Pennsylvania. Namacolin Castle or Bowman's Castle. namacolincastle.org. Renfrew Museum and Park. renfrewmuseum.org. Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Robert W. Ryers's Library and Museum. ryersmuseum.org. Shelter House Society. Emmaus, Pennsylvania. Somerset Historical Center. Taylor Arboretum at Widener University. taylorarboretum.org. Wallingford, Pennsylvania. The Molland House. molland.org. Hartsville, Pennsylvania. Upper Marion Park and Historic Foundation. enjoymccaig.org. Wayne, Pennsylvania. Valley Forge National Historical Park, NPS. nps.gov/vafo/index.htm. Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Washington Crossing Historic Park. storiesusa.net/ml/org/edit/37545. Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania. William E. Swigert, Jr. Automobile Museum. swiggertmuseum.com. Huntington, Pennsylvania. Rhode Island Park Museum websites. Clouds Hill Victorian House Museum. cloudshill.org. Warwick, Rhode Island. South Carolina Park Museum websites. Aiken County Historical Museum at Banksia. aikenmuseum.us. Aiken, South Carolina. Andrew Jackson State Park. southcarolinaparks.com/andrewjackson/introduction.aspx. Lancaster, South Carolina. Caesars Head State Park. southcarolinaparks.com/park-finder/state-park/1648.aspx. Cleveland, South Carolina. Charlestown Landing State Historic Site. charlestownlanding.travel. Charleston, South Carolina. Congaree National Park Museum. nps.gov/cong. Hopkins, South Carolina. Greenville Zoological Park. greenvillezoo.com. Greenville, South Carolina. Hunting Island State Park. huntingisland.com. St. Helena Island, South Carolina. Huntington Beach State Park/Atalaya. Mulls Inlet, South Carolina. Keowee-Toxaway State Park. Sunset, South Carolina. Kings Mountain State Park. southcarolinaparks.com/kingsmountain/introduction.aspx. Kings Mountain National Military Park. nps.gov/chemo/index.htm. Blacksburg, South Carolina. Lansford Canal State Park. southcarolinaparks.com/lansfordcanal/introduction.aspx. Catawba, South Carolina. McCormick Arts Council at the Keturah. McCormick, South Carolina. Myrtle Beach State Park. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Oakley Park Museum. Edgefield, South Carolina. Oconee State Park. oconeecountry.com/oconeestatepark.html. Mountain Rest, South Carolina. Poinsett State Park. southcarolinaparks.com/poinsett/introduction.aspx. Wedgefield, South Carolina. Roper Mountain Science Center. ropermountain.org. Santee National Wildlife Refuge. fws.gov/santee. Somerton, South Carolina. South Carolina Parks, Recreation and Tourism. Columbia, South Carolina. Sumter County Museum. sumtercountymuseum.org. Sumter, South Carolina. Table Rock State Park. Pickens, South Carolina. South Dakota Park Museum websites. Bear Butte State Park. black-hills-south-dakota.com/bearbutete.htm. Sturgis, South Dakota. Bramble Park Zoo. brambleparkzoo.com. Watertown, South Dakota. Gary Historical Association. ExperienceGarySD.com. Gary, South Dakota. Lewis and Clark Lake Visitor Center. lewisandclarktrail.com/section2/SD cities/Yankton/LC visitor/index.htm. Yankton, South Dakota. Petrified Wood Park Museum. Lemon, South Dakota. Wiley Park Zoo/Storybook Island. Aberdeen, South Dakota. Wind Cave National Park Visitor Center. nps.gov/wicea. Hot Springs, South Dakota. Tennessee Park Museum websites. Big Black Creek Historical. bigblackcreekhistorical.com. Denmark, Tennessee. Cordell Hull Birthplace Museum. Byrdstown, Tennessee. Marble Springs State Historic Farmstead. marbiellasprayings.net. Knoxville, Tennessee. Oakland's Historic House Museum. oaklandsmuseum.org. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. tvrail.com. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Texas Park Museum websites. Abilene Zoo. abilenezoo.org. Abilene, Texas. Agricultural Heritage Museum. agmuseum.us. Bourne, Texas. Baytown Historical Preservation Association. baytownhistory.org. Baytown, Texas. Beeville Art Museum. bamtexas.org. Beeville, Texas. Big Bend National Park. big.bend.national-park.com. Big Bend, Texas. Buggy Barn Museum. buggybarnmuseum.com. Blanco, Texas. Denton County Courthouse on the Square Museum. dentoncounty.com/chos. Denton, Texas. Depot Museum. depotmuseum.com. Henderson, Texas. Fort Belknap. tshaonline.org/handbook/entries/Fort-Belknap. Newcastle, Texas. Fort McKavett State Historic Park. tpwd.state.tx.us. Fort McKavett, Texas. Heard Natural Science Museum and Wildlife Sanctuary. heardmuseum.org. McKinney, Texas. Heritage Museum of Montgomery, Texas. heritagemuseum.us. Conroe, Texas. Historical Park of Denton County. dentoncounty.com. Jordan Bachman Pioneer Farms. pioneerfarms.org. Austin, Texas. Lubbock Lake Landmark. departmenttest.ttu.edu/museum/ttu/ll/staffcontact.html. Lubbock, Texas. Moody Gardens. moodygardens.org. Galveston, Texas. Museum of the Southwest. museumsw.org. Midland, Texas. Museums of Port Isabel. portisablemuseums.com. Port Isabel, Texas. Old Fort Bliss Museum. Fort Bliss, Texas. Old Fort Parker. oldfortparker.org. Groesbeck, Texas. Old Town at Conservation Plaza. New Braunfels Conservation.org/facilities. New Braunfels, Texas. Parrott Museum of Nature and Science. parrottmuseum.org. Dallas, Texas. Sam Bell Maxey House State Historical Park. Visit sambellmaxeyhouse.com. Paris, Texas. Smith County Historical Society Museum and Archives. smithcountyhistoricalsociety.org. Tyler, Texas. South Texas Botanical Gardens and Nature Center. sdxbot.org. Corpus Christi, Texas. Spring Creek County Historical Association, Tomball Museum Center. tomballmuseumcenter.org. Tomball, Texas. Star Family Home State Historic Site. thc.state.tx.us/hs_star.aspx ? Marshall, Texas. Star Family Home State Historical Park. Texas Historical Commission. thc.state.tx.us. Texas State Railroad Palestine Depot. texassdatur.com. Palestine, Texas. Washington on the Brazos State Historical Park Association. Washington, Texas. West Bay Common School Children's Museum. onirumschoolhouse.org. League City, Texas. Whitewright Historical and Nature Park. Whitewright, Texas. Utah Park Museum websites. Anasazi State Park Museum. stateparks.utah.gov/park_pages/anasazi.htm. Boulder, Utah. Fort Buenaventura Park. co.weber.ut.us/parks. Ogden, Utah. Fremont Indian State Park Museum. stateparks.utah.gov/parks/Fremont. Sevier, Utah. Golden Spike National Historic Site. nps.gov/gosp. Brigham City, Utah. Park City Museum. parkcityhistory.org. Park City, Utah. Parowan Old Rock Church Museum. parowan.org/index.php/heritage/museums.html. Parowan, Utah. Territorial State House State Park. stateparks.utah.gov/parks/territorial-statehouse. Fillmore, Utah. This is the place Heritage Park. This is the place.org. Salt Lake City, Utah. Tracy Aviary. tracyaviary.org. Utah Veterans Memorial State Park. utah.com/stateparks/veterans.htm. Bluffdale, Utah. Wheeler Historic Farm. wheelerfarm.com. Willow Park Zoo. loganutah.org/parks_and/rec/willow_park/index.cfm. Logan, Utah. Chapter 4. Park Museums 4. Vermont Park Museum websites. Grand Isle Lake House. GrandIsleLakehouse.com. Grand Isle, Vermont. Marsh Billings National Historic Park. nps.gov/mapi/index.htm. Woodstock, Vermont. Middletown Springs Historical Society. Middletown Springs Historical Society.org. Middletown Springs, Vermont. Old Stonehouse Museum. oldstoneHouseMuseum.org. Brownington, Vermont. Park McCullough House. parkmccullough.org/index.html. North Bennington, Vermont. Weston Historical Society. westonvt.com. Weston, Vermont. Virginia Park Museum websites. Abby Aldrich Rockefeller Folk Art Center. history.org/history/museum/abby_art.cfm. Williamsburg, Virginia. Agecroft Hall. agecrofthall.com. Richmond, Virginia. Avoca Museum and Historical Society. avocamuseum.org. Alta Vista, Virginia. Bacon's Castle. preservation-virginia.org/visit/historic-properties/bacons-castle. Surrey, Virginia. Ben Lomond Historic Site. pwcgov.org/historic sites. Manassas, Virginia. Brentsville Courthouse Historic Center. pwcgov.org/Brentsville. Bristow, Virginia. Burwell Morgan Mill. clarkhistory.org. Boyce, Virginia. Cape Henry Lighthouse. preservation-virginia.org/visit/historic-properties/cape-henry-lighthouse. Virginia Beach, Virginia. Chipokes Farm and Forestry Museum. dcr.virginia.gov/state_parks/chf.shtml. Colonial National Historic Park. nps.gov/colorado/index.htm. Yorktown, Virginia. Eastern National Park and Monument. Edith J. Carrier Arboretum and Botanical Gardens at James Madison University. jmu.edu/arboretum. Harrisonburg, Virginia. Fairfax CO. Park Authority. Fairfax, Virginia. Fort Boykin. historicisleofwhite.com. Isle of Wight County, Virginia. Fort Huger. Friends of the National Park for Green Spring, Inc. historicgreenspring.org. Henricus Foundation/Henricus Historical Park. henricus.org. Chesterfield, Virginia. Hermitage Museum and Gardens. thfm.org. Norfolk, Virginia. Humpback Rocks MTN. Farm and Visitor Center. livinghistorysites.com/Virginia/sites/144-humpback-rocks-visitor-mountain-farm-blue-ridge-parkway-Virginia. Vesuvius, Virginia. James River Park Visitor. Jerome Buddy Ford Nature Center. alexandriava.gov/recreation. Alexandria, Virginia. Luray Valley Museum. LurayCaverns.com. Luray, Virginia. Maggie L. Walker National Historic Site. nps.gov/ma/index.hdm Manassas National Battlefield Park nps.gov/mana/index.hdm Matthews Living History Farm Museum matthewsfarmmuseum.org Galax, Virginia Maymont maymont.org Middlesex County Museum and Historical Society middlesexmuseum.com Saluda, Virginia Mill Mountain Zoological Park mmzoo.org Roanoke, Virginia Monroe Park goldvein.com Goldvein, Virginia Museum of Culpeper History culpepermuseum.com Culpeper, Virginia Natural Bridge Zoo naturalbridgezoo.com Natural Bridge, Virginia Natural Chimneys Regional Park Grottos, Virginia New Market Battlefield State Park New Market, Virginia Parks Recreation Community Services Prince William Forest Park nps.gov/prwi Triangle, Virginia Sailors Creek Battlefield Park Amelia Courthouse, Virginia Shenandoah National Park Smith's Fort Plantation preservation-virginia.com/visit/historic-properties/smiths-fort-plantation Stanton River Battlefield State Park stantonriverbattlefield.org Randolph, Virginia Sully Historic Site fairfaxcounty.gov/parks/sully Chantilly, Virginia The Mansion and Museums at Morven Park morvenpark.org Leesburg, Virginia The Mariners Museum and Park marinersmuseum.org Newport News, Virginia Virginia Living Museum thevlm.org Walney at Eleanor C. Lawrence Park Wilderness Road State Park dcr.virginia.gov/state_parks/wil.shtml Ewing, Virginia York County Historical Committee yorkcounty.gov/default.aspx?tab =$6569 Washington Park Museum websites Alpoa Interpretive Center /Chief Timothy State Park parks.wa.gov Clarkston, Washington Federation Forest State Park Enumclaw, Washington Fort Casey State Park Interpretive Center Fort Flagler State Park Nordland, Washington Fort Ken B. Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center lewisandclarktrail.com/section4/WA cities/Chinook/Lewis Clark Center Ilwaco, Washington Grand Coulee Dam Visitor Arrival Center Bureau of Reclamation Grand Coulee, Washington Historic Fort Steilacoom Association historicfortsteilacoom.org Lakewood, Washington Interpretive Con Washington State Parks Olympia, Washington Klondike Gold Rush National Historical Park nps.gov/klse/index.hdm Seattle, Washington Limekill Point State Park Friday Harbor, Washington Mount Rainier National Park nps.gov/mora/index.hdm Ashford, Washington New Dungeness Lighthouse newdungenesslighthouse.com Sequim, Washington Northwest Trek Wildlife Park nwtrek.org Edenville, Washington Old Growth Exhibit /Lewis and Clark State Park Winlock, Washington Olympic National Park Visitor Center nps.gov/olem Port Angeles, Washington Polson Park and Museum Hoquiam, Washington Rhododendron Species Botanical Garden rhodeygarden.org Federal Way, Washington Rothschild House State Park parks.wa.gov San Juan Island National Historic Park. nps.gov/sajh/home.hdm. The Heritage Group, Fort Worden State Park. Centrum.org/Fort Worden. Port Townsend, Washington. West Virginia Park Museum websites. Berkeley Springs State Park. Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Blennerhassett Island Historical State Park. Blennerhassettislandstatepark.com. Parkersburg, West Virginia. Bluestone Wildlife Museum. Hinton, West Virginia. Carnifex Ferry State Park. Summersville, West Virginia. Cass Scenic Railroad State Park. CassRailroad.com. Cass, West Virginia. Droop Mountain Battlefield State Park. DroopMountainBattlefield.com. Hillsboro, West Virginia. Harpers Ferry National Historical Park. Harpers.ferry.national-park.com. Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Hawks Nest State Park Museum. HawksNestSP.com. Ansted, West Virginia. Little Beaver State Park. Beaver, West Virginia. Living Heritage Museum/New Era One Room School. boe.wood.k12.wv.us/New Era. Mineral Wells, West Virginia. Lost River State Park. Matthias, West Virginia. Tuende Way State Park, Point Pleasant Battle Monument State Park. TU-ENDIE-WEISTATEPARK.com. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Twin Falls State Park. TwinFallsResort.com. Mullins, West Virginia. Waters Smith Memorial State Park. WatersSmithStatePark.com. Lost Creek, West Virginia. Wisconsin Park Museum websites. Badger Mine and Museum. Scholzburg-Wisconsin.org/Scholzburg Bad Germany Museum.hdm. Scholzburg, Wisconsin. Burnett County Historical Society. TheForts.org. Danbury, Wisconsin. Forts Follavoine Historic Park. Henry Villas Park Zoo. VilasZoo.org. Madison, Wisconsin. Heritage Hill State Park. HeritageHillGB.org. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Jeremiah Curtin House. Milwaukee County HistSoc.org. Greendale, Wisconsin. Kilbourne Town House. MilwaukeeHistory.net. Shorewood, Wisconsin. Milwaukee County Historical Society. Milwaukee County Zoo. MilwaukeeZoo.org. Mitchell Park Conservatory. Newport State Park. Ellison Bay, Wisconsin. Payne Art Center and Gardens. ThePayne.org. Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Peninsula State Park. Fish Creek, Wisconsin. Point of Beginnings Heritage Area. Platteville, Wisconsin. Potawatomi State Park. Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. Richfield Historical Society. RichfieldHistoricalSociety.org. Richfield, Wisconsin. Rock Island State Park. dnr.wi.gov/org/land/parks/specific/Rockisland. Washington Island, Wisconsin. Trimborn Farm. MilwaukeeHistory.net/historic_properties/trimborn_farm.html. Whitefish Dunes State Park. dnr.wi.gov/org/land/parks/specific/Whitefish. Wyoming Park Museum websites. Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area. Laurel, Wyoming. Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum. oldwestmuseum.org. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Crimson Dawn Park and Museum. crimsondawnmuseum.org. Casper, Wyoming. Museum of the National Park Ranger. Yellowstone NP, Wyoming. Sinks Canyon State Park Visitors Center. wyoparks.state.wy.us/sinks1.hdm. Lander, Wyoming. West Texas Trail Museum. wyomingtourism.org. Moorcroft, Wyoming. Wyoming Territorial Park. wyomingterritorialpark.com. Laramie, Wyoming. Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming.